What's up guys, my name is Michael, welcome back to another video. So in today's video I want to talk about my experience after I ditched my iPhone 11 Pro Max for Apple's cheapest phone, the iPhone SE. So today I finally switched my SIM cards back into my iPhone 11 Pro and I am so glad I'm back using this phone, but the iPhone SE was still a fun experience, and in this video I want to talk about everything I noticed switching from the iPhone 11 Pro Max to the iPhone SE. Because in my opinion, this $1,100 phone and this $400 phone honestly shouldn't be separated by $700 because they are way closer than a lot of people think they are. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'll start off with something important in today's world, which is how you can unlock the phone. So I had to go out for groceries a few days ago, and if you're not wearing a mask when you go out of the house nowadays, you are absolutely crazy. So with the iPhone SE actually in my pocket, I had to access my grocery list and I was wearing a mask over my face. So with Face ID, it would be a lot tougher to unlock the phone. Obviously, it wouldn't be able to scan my face and then it would tell me to input my passcode. But with the iPhone SE, with Touch ID, it is so much more convenient for me to just touch my thumb on the fingerprint scanner and I can unlock my phone a lot faster. Now, of course, yes, I should have also been wearing gloves in the grocery store. I know somebody's gonna say that in the comments below, but still, this is so much more convenient than using Face ID, especially during modern times. So with these older designed home button iPhones, you do get a few benefits compared to the newer iPhones that have Face ID. So one of them is you actually get access to Control Center now from the bottom of the screen, which is really nice on a small phone like this. You can access all your controls just from the bottom. Also, you can now turn off your phone without pressing and holding power and volume. All you have to do is press and hold the power button to turn it off. I remember how simple this used to be, and it's always so annoying now when I have to hold both buttons on my iPhone 11 Pro just to turn it off. So all the conveniences that we used to have when we had a home button are here on the iPhone SE, including customizability of the home button. So if I go into settings, general, and home button, you can also change the pressure sensitivity of the home button. So 1, it's gonna feel like there's almost no buzz, and all the way up to 3, it's gonna feel like the actual phone is clicking, which it actually isn't. It's just the haptic engine. So the customizability of the home button, along with all those other benefits, really make the iPhone SE still such a great iPhone today. So honestly, the build of these phones could not be farther apart from each other. The iPhone SE uses aluminum and regular glass, just shiny glass that feels a little bit more sticky to your fingers when you hold it. It's a pretty thin and light phone. Compared to the iPhone 11 Pro, this phone is just so thick and heavy. And that's a good thing because it does use more premium materials. So along the edges, it uses stainless steel. And I bet if this same size phone used aluminum, I bet it would be a lot lighter. But I still do prefer stainless steel just because it is a little bit more strong than aluminum. So I tend to keep all my iPhones in pretty good condition and I don't really have any damage on these iPhones. However, from previous experience using my iPhone 6 or my iPhone 6S, this aluminum, even though it is the newer 7000 series aluminum, this is going to dent a lot easier than say stainless steel would on the newer iPhones. And that's what makes these phones feel a little bit lighter. I think they call this aerospace grade aluminum. And again, it is very durable, but your phone again is just going to be a little more susceptible to denting or maybe even bending. Also, though, we do have to take into account that the iPhone SE weighs so much lighter than the iPhone 11 Pro. So if you were to drop the iPhone SE, there isn't really much mass to it anyway, so it might not even get damaged as much as the iPhone 11 Pro would, just because this phone is so heavy. So possibly the number one reason the iPhone SE is so popular right now is because of the camera. Now, it actually has the identical hardware as the iPhone 8 camera, and most people think that that's not really a big deal. The iPhone 8 didn't have a blowaway camera, but here it is the software that matters. So the iPhone SE has the identical A13 Bionic chip as the iPhone 11 Pro Max, and therefore it can do some crazy things with computational photography. So you may see that it does have the same redesigned camera app as the iPhone 11 Pro Max, which I find really cool. Even my iPhone from last year, the iPhone XS, doesn't even have this redesigned camera app. We do get some new features too with this redesign, such as the ability to change the resolution of video directly from within the app. Again, something that older iPhones or iPads can't even do. So I guess only modern iPhones with the A13 chip get this redesign. There also is a new button here at the top, which allows you to access all these tools at the bottom. So in terms of actual photo quality, you're not going to see very much difference between these two cameras. Of course, with the iPhone 11 Pro, you're getting a bit of a better sensor and the optics are going to be better. But most of photography these days is done with the processing on the chip. And even though you don't get the zoom 2x camera and the ultra wide camera of the iPhone 11 Pro, you're only spending $400. And to get this main wide camera at the quality that it's at is unbelievable for this price. And also something that is really cool is you get portrait mode on the front-facing camera and the rear-facing camera on the iPhone SE. So this is a selfie I took using the front-facing camera, and this is absolutely unbelievable because the iPhone SE doesn't have the Face ID depth scanner of the iPhone 10 and up series. So it doesn't really know the depth of my face and what's behind me, but it's still able to create that depth map and blur out the background behind me, which is very impressive for an iPhone, which, like I said, doesn't have any depth sensors at all up in the top forehead. And I did say this in another video, but for $399, the iPhone SE is the best video camera that you can find on the market today. And because it is also water resistant, this thing can go anywhere with you and you'll be recording extremely crisp 4K video. So now I want to compare the speakers on these phones. I have the volume turned up to max on both of them. I do notice that on the iPhone 11 Pro, there is more stereo separation between the left and right channels when you're watching a video. And obviously that's because the phone is bigger, but also they do have better stereo separation that Apple has made for these new generations of iPhones, which they haven't brought to the iPhone SE. So I have volume set to the max. Let's go ahead and listen to the iPhone SE first. And now let's listen to the iPhone 11 Pro Max. So I don't know if you're going to be able to notice a clarity difference, but you should have noticed a volume difference. So even though these phones were both set to max volume, the iPhone 11 Pro Max tops out at a much higher volume level. So now it's time for the fun part, the displays. Obviously the biggest part that's separating these phones. The iPhone 11 Pro Max has over 450 pixels per inch and it's an OLED display. So OLED means that when your phone is displaying black colors, it is actually going to be turning off those pixels. So the iPhone SE, however, if I don't drop it, has an LCD display. So it is going to be doing the best it can to try to replicate blacks, but the pixels are never actually going to be shut off. So that means you're going to be getting much better color accuracy on the iPhone 11 Pro Max. However, that being said, Apple is known for their outstanding color calibration. And honestly, even though the iPhone SE is an LCD display and the iPhone 11 Pro Max is an OLED, I honestly can't tell a difference between these two displays just looking at them face on. Of course, the iPhone 11 Pro Max does get a lot brighter. If I make it too bright, it won't be visible on camera, so I have to significantly lower it compared to the iPhone SE. But Apple's color calibration is definitely something that shouldn't be overlooked. So both of these phones use the exact same chip and they are going to be very fast. I'm not going to be doing any Geekbench tests or any boring tests that don't really matter. I'm just going to be telling you how these iPhones performed in the real world. Of course, the iPhone 11 Pro Max, this is Apple's flagship phone. It's going to be performing perfectly. And the iPhone SE has the identical chip inside it. However, we have learned that it is slightly underclocked, and that may be because the iPhone SE has such a small battery that if it runs at full speed, it might drain the battery faster than it should. However, when we launch apps though, as you can see, the loading time is pretty much the same on both phones. This iPhone SE is going to be getting software updates probably for the next 4, 5, or 6 years, just because the silicon in this phone is so modern and fast. And earlier in the video, you heard me mention computational photography. And again, the chip inside the phone is what really matters when taking a good photo. And that's why the iPhone SE takes such good photos, because the A13 has such a high-end ISP or image signal processor that photos after being processed by the A13 chip really look nice and are able to reduce noise significantly. Battery life on the iPhone SE is probably the biggest trade-off you're going to be getting. Apple.com says it lasts about the same as the iPhone 8, which didn't have very good battery life. I know a ton of people that actually switched from the iPhone 8 to the iPhone 8 Plus just because the battery was awful on that generation of iPhone. In fact, the size of the battery is below 2,000 milliamp hours, which is a tiny cell for a smartphone in today's age, especially when it's powering an A13 chip. So water resistance is also nice to see, and none of these phones are going to be having any issues when exposed to water. But the iPhone 11 Pro just goes that extra little step further, as the Pro phone should, and you get 4 meters versus 1 meter of water resistance. So a little bit of an extra bonus there in terms of water resistance, but both phones are not going to be damaged around water. And also, if you remember back at the start of the video, I mentioned how the audio sounded differently on the iPhone 11 Pro Max, and that's because of this spec right here. So as you can see, the iPhone 11 Pro Max supports spatial audio playback, whereas the iPhone SE only supports stereo audio playback. And then once again, we see the iPhone 11 Pro Max one-upping the iPhone SE just a little bit when it comes to video playback as well. You get high dynamic range with Dolby Vision on the iPhone 11 Pro Max, whereas you only get HDR10 content support on the iPhone SE. So with both of these phones having the exact same chip, they both have ultra-fast biometric authentication, they both have fantastic cameras, fantastic video recording. Who would buy the iPhone 11 Pro? Well, I would, obviously, because I just like the premium phone. But honestly, the iPhone SE is such a great phone for the value. We went through this video and we noted all the little tiny downgrades that the iPhone SE doesn't have compared to the iPhone 11 Pro. And you just have to step back and think if you really need all of those features and if they're worth an extra $700. Because if this phone were priced at $599, it wouldn't be that good of a value. But at $399, this phone with all the features that it has packed inside is really making people, even like me, contemplate really if the iPhone 11 Pro is worth $1,100. And I'm in Canada, and this phone is the 256 gig model, and this phone is not $1,100. This phone is closer to $1,700. I paid $599 for this phone in Canada, and that price difference is just unbelievable to me. So I might end up selling this phone, and I might just wait for the iPhone 12, but tell me in the comments below what you guys think I should do, just because this iPhone SE is such a good value for the price. So that's going to do it for me in this video. Tell me in the comments below what you think, and tell me if you have an iPhone 11 Pro. Tell me your thoughts about this new iPhone SE. Do you kind of feel like you got cheated now because this iPhone has all these modern features for only $400? I'd like to hear what you guys have to say in the comments below. And also subscribe, turn on notifications, and like the video, as the YouTube algorithm does tend to like that. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.